Hi guys, it's Tanya here. Today we're going to be looking at the Svipul, which is the Mimitar Tactical Destroyer. I've held off on doing videos on the Tactical Destroyers for a while now because I strongly believe that there's very likely to be some rebalancing done very soon to both the Svipul and the Confessor. There's actually a focused group thread up right now in the Features and Ideas forum that CCP Fozzy has posted that you can apply to if you have good fitting and knowledge and experience flying the Tactical Destroyers, which I'll leave in the description if you want to check it out or apply to. The Svipul is incredibly powerful because it boasts a higher base speed than every combat frigate in the game, so it will never have issues of being controlled in scram range, which is one of the reasons why artillery fits are so powerful, because if a frigate scram and webs you and you just mutually web them back, because you'll have faster base speed than them in speed mode, you will basically track them perfectly, so a frigate can't get under your guns at all, as long as you have mutual levels of control. So if you have disrupt the web and they come in and scram web you, obviously it doesn't really matter if they run the MWD or not, because they'll have the SIG penalty, so you will always track them perfectly because you will always be faster than them. I'm going to be focusing on a brawling fit with two small energy neutralizers in this video. Passive brawl Svipul's got a lot stronger in the Carynx expansion when medium shield extender fittings were reduced and became easier to fit, and the faction variations were added. So my fit uses the highest tier AutoCannons with two small unstable Neuts. The AutoCannons are 200mm, which as I mentioned are the highest tier. If you want to save ISK, you can use the meta-free variation instead. For the Neuts, they use the same CPU and grid, and they'll save you about 2 to 3 million ISK. In the mids, I use a compact Microwarpdrive. It needs the compact Microwarpdrive to be able to fit, and a faint Epsilon scram, and then two Republic Fleet medium shield extenders. If you don't want to use the Republic Fleet extenders, they are 6 million each. You can drop down to compact variations, which are 1 million ISK each, although I think that the Republic Fleet extenders are well worth the investment, because dropping down to compact, you lose more than 4,000 effective hit points and 18 effective hit points regenerated per second. So as I said, I definitely think the ISK invested is definitely worth it. You can always downgrade the faint Epsilon scram to a J5B warp scrambler as well if you want to save more ISK. In the lows, I use a damage control, two Gyrostabilizers, and a Tech 2 micro auxiliary power core. If you don't have the skills to fit the Tech 2 micro auxiliary power core, then you can use a Navy auxiliary power core instead. It's completely identical, except it just gives one more grid. It uses the same CPU and less skills. For the rigs, I use 3 Tech 2 core field extenders. I also feel like the Tech 2 core field extenders are definitely worth the ISK investment. You can drop down to Tech 1 if you want to save ISK again, but you will lose 3,000 effective hit points, and I think this is one of the main strengths of the Svipul, is just how ridiculous the stats get when you stack them all together. So this Svipul actually has a passive regeneration rate of almost 90 universal DPS per second, which is absolutely huge. It's pretty much like a free small auxiliary armor repairer on a normal frigate that's constantly running, that costs no cap, and it's just completely free. It also means you can basically permatank a set of 5 light combat drones. This is also another reason why the Svipul has changed the meta a lot, because cruisers need to be able to deal with the Svipul, because a set of light drones is not going to be able to even break your passive regeneration when you're in defense mode. So this is another reason why the Svipul is kind of really powerful, is because it just gets this huge free passive regeneration while you have this big buffer tank. You also have almost 26,000 effective hit points, which is huge. It's pretty much what most Tech 1 cruisers normally have. Like, for example, a pretty standard rapid like Carynx running like 2 large shield extenders, damage control, then just like 3 resist rigs will have 26,000 effective hit points. So it has a cruiser buffer tank essentially with a really strong regeneration rate that will allow you to completely passive tank one set of light drones. You also do 370 DPS cold with faction ammo. You also move incredibly fast as well in speed mode. Like I mentioned, your base speed is higher than every combat frigate in the game, so tracking is an issue, and it's actually a lot better for you to be in speed mode instead of in the sharpshooter mode when you're shooting frigates, because the extra speed will actually add a more significant amount of tracking to your ship in terms of the traversal that you're able to mitigate instead of being in the sharpshooter mode and moving slower, because you can just double click in space, and because you're faster than every combat frigate in the game, they won't be able to keep up with you. I don't use a web on my Fit, but with the speed mode, even if you are webbed by another frigate, AutoCannons are going to be able to track perfectly well. You also have two small Neuts as well, which are two small Neuts need the same as one medium Neut, and because it's spaced out, they have half the cycle time, and you actually have two of them. You're basically it's basically running a medium Neut that has like 4 times the cycle speed. So that's also incredibly strong. And the really fast speed, when you're in speed mode, you're basically the same speed as a combat frigate as well, with Microwarpdrive on. So to talk briefly about the 3 tactical modes that this Svipul has access to, the first mode is defense mode, which gives a 33% bonus to both shield and armor resistances, as well as a 66 reduction in Microwarpdrive's signature bloom penalty. You pretty much always want to be in this mode when you're fighting against other ships that have you hard tackled. So if you're scrammed or webbed, then you're going to be in this mode pretty much exclusively. The second mode, sharpshooter mode, gives a 100% bonus to sensor strength, scan resolution, and lock range, like it does on every tech-free destroyer, and you also get a 33% bonus to tracking on the Svipul. This mode is not as important as it is maybe on the Confessor or the Jagdor or the Hecate, because the speed mode is so powerful. The tracking bonus that you get from this mode is actually obsolete in almost every situation. This is far better to be in the speed mode unless you need the other stats from the sharpshooter mode, like the sensor strength. And finally, the speed mode, you get 33% bonus to agility in this mode and 66 bonus to your base speed. This mode is by far the most powerful mode that the Svipul has access to, and I think it's probably the most unbalanced part of the Svipul. It's also worth pointing out that it's possible to align in under 2 seconds with the Svipul by swapping from speed mode to either defensive or sharpshooter mode mid-align from a standstill. Remember that you can still switch modes while you're under gate cloak as well, so providing there's no bubble and you pull this maneuver off successfully, it can be very difficult for players to actually catch you, enabling you to run a lot of camps, especially out of nullsec. It's not quite an insta-warp anymore, but since the nerf to the Svipul back in April, I believe in the patch that was after Tiamat, but you can still warp in under 2 seconds, which with how the server ticks work, you're almost essentially invulnerable. You can get locks technically, but it's very unlikely that someone will be able to activate a warp disruptor module on you. It's always important to remember which mode you're in and which mode is the best to use for the fight. In this case, I jumped into a system and an Omen Navy issue appears on the gate. Actually warps -30, but I decided to go in on him. If I get a tight orbit on the Omen Navy issue, I can definitely kill him, especially as I have dual Neuts as well. This Omen Navy issue is a bit weird because it actually ends up being a shield fit. The standard armor fit, he does have an injector as well though, so it's actually a bit harder for me because he has a large shield extender. But against the armor fit, your 2 small Neuts are definitely going to put a lot of pressure on him being able to run a medium auxiliary armor repairer and shoot you at the same time. So I'm staying in speed mode here, and I'm not switching to the defensive mode because, as you can see, his base speed is 378-ish, a bit higher than that right now. But in speed mode, I'm going at 479 ms. It's actually a bit slower than that because of my orbit right now. But if I switch to defensive mode, he would be faster than me, and he would get perfect tracking hits on me. So it's important to remember that you should always stay in speed mode, providing that you are faster than the cruiser, so that you will actually mitigate more DPS by being in speed mode than switching to defensive mode. And you can see here my Neuts really put a lot of pressure on him, and he actually stopped shooting me at the last period there. So next up, Malediction lands. I should really be checking D-scan here, but there's a Malediction, Griffin, and a Astero. I could have maybe switched to sharpshooter mode here to try to finish off the Malediction. That's probably a mistake from me. I decided to move away now because I think the Griffin might have a scram, and he actually does scram me, but luckily the inertia and one of the, again, the speed mode is so powerful because the Griffin's base speed is a lot slower than the Svipul's base speed, so he will always have to keep a Microwarpdrive on to keep up with me, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on his capacitor if he wants to run jams, Microwarpdrive, and a scram on me. So I warped to a belt, and I actually decided to switch to sharpshooter mode here in case the Griffin just lands on me at 0. I could have just warped off and disappeared, but I noticed the Malediction ran away, so it would just be the Griffin. I actually get pretty owned by the rats here, and my stuff was repairing, so I wasn't able to get a new cycle in straight away, which is pretty unfortunate. But this is kind of one of the strengths of the tactical destroyers. You'll see here, even though he is jamming me and he actually fit completely all 4 Mimitar jammers, with the sharpshooter mode my sensor strength is above 30, so eventually I will get a lock here. As you can see, his next cycle should fail pretty soon. I hate Griffins so much. As long as there's nothing else here, it's pretty safe. Like, I'm getting owned pretty hard by the rats. In fact, the rats are the only thing that's really doing any damage to me. Eventually he fails after 2 cycles, and I'm able to just finish him off really easily. And again, I should be checking D-scan. I'm really rusty here. That's the strength of the Svipul, and it's also, remember, don't underestimate the speed mode. The speed mode is overpowered. It's the most overpowered thing about the Svipul, and staying in speed mode is often better than switching to defensive mode in a lot of these fights. Okay, so in this next fight, I'm being followed by 2 flycatchers and a saber from Circle of 2. They also have a few cruisers that are chasing me as well. I jump into this. I'm actually willing to fight this because interdictors can tell you a lot about their fits by if they have a bubble or not. Because the flycatcher has a bubble fitted, I know that he's not going to be in the strongest fit because of the 100 CPU that it requires is going to take away from his fit. So he's not going to be in a pure combat fit. I start on the saber because I feel like it's going to be the ¡1 damage threat, but I actually switch off to the flycatcher because I noticed that the flycatcher is the only thing with a scram and web in this fight, and also because the saber has 125mm autocannons, and which are the lowest tier autocannons, so he's probably just in some max tank fleet fit with just a bubble. And the flycatcher that I'm on now actually has rockets fitted. So the flycatcher is actually doing the most damage, and because it has a interdictor bubble, it's probably got a low tank. Even though I have fusion loaded here, I'm actually able to get through him pretty fast and take him down. And once he's down, the main damage threat is gone. This other flycatcher that's on me right here is actually like missile fit, and this is a mistake from him. I'm definitely going. If he doesn't have any hard tackle, he definitely should not be on top of me here. This pilot should have decided to be at 50 kilometers and shot me at range, because right here he's just risking his ship for no gain, because neither of them have hard tackle, and they only need 1 person to sit on top of me to keep the bubble up. Once this flycatcher goes down, I'm pretty low though. The saber's actually regened quite a lot of shield HP, and I noticed that a mower has come through now, and I know that they did have a few more cruisers chasing me, so I decided to bail out instead. Because the saber doesn't have any hard tackle, I'm just able to extract here, and with the overheated Microwarpdrive, the Svipul goes 3.8 kilometers a second, so you can escape from these situations quite easily as long as you're not hard tackled. And I decided to just warp off the field. It's important to remember just how strong your dual Neuts are. This is one of the reasons why I like this specific Svipul fit. Even against a ship like another Svipul, your dual Neuts can really take a toll on them. So this is a fight against another. Svipul, which is actually dual tank fit. He's got a medium auxiliary booster, shield booster, as well as a small auxiliary armor repairer. I should have entered into defense mode a lot sooner into this fight. It's a big mistake from me. I was in speed mode for far too long. I should have entered into defense mode as soon as I started the engagement. So that was a misplay from me. You can really see here just how quickly these dual Neuts can take effect on this Svipul. I'm able to Neut off his scram even quite early into the fight, and he actually dies with 6 nanite paste in his armor repairer, so he actually only got 2 charges off on the armor repairer. That just goes to show how strong the dual Neuts are, even in a situation where you think that they might not be that effective. In this next fight, I find an Omen Navy issue above a set of bubbles on a gate. I burn up to him, but I assume that he probably wants to engage me, so I try to position myself I burn back towards the bubbles, and I try and position myself so that he would land right on top of me, so he won't be able to actually kite me very well. And I actually land on him, pretty close to him actually. I land like within 10 kilometers. By the time he's able to take action, I'm already have a scram and guns on him. In this situation, again, it's very important to remain in speed mode, even though it might make sense initially to be in defensive mode when you're getting shot. It's far better to be in speed mode in this case, so that you can mitigate more DPS from the guns than you would if you were just getting like extra resist but then getting hit by him. This Omen Navy issue doesn't do a great job initially. He's kind of orbiting me, I think, and he should just double click in space and he would have a better time, even though I don't think he will be able to actually track me anyway because of my high base speed. You can see here that the dual Neuts really can put in a lot of work even against the cruiser. The Omen Navy issue is unable to keep his scram and guns on the whole time. He as soon as he injects, he can run his armor repairer, but I do actually stop neuting here as well because I run out of cap. His Neut is actually putting a lot of pressure on me. But you can see here that an Omen Navy issue, which is a really strong skirmishing ship, can really struggle to deal with you if you get a scram on them. And the dual Neuts and the base speed of your Svipul in speed mode can mitigate a lot of DPS from the Omen Navy issue. You can really put a lot of pressure on the tank. Like, I didn't even get lower than 75% in this fight. So this fight is kind of an example of just how fast the Svipul is, and you can get out of even really bad situations where you're dealing with linked Jackdaw and a linked Rapier. So I go into this Jackdaw straight away. He has light missiles, so I should be able to kill him pretty fast, and I'm pretty sure that I can outbrawl a Jackdaw, especially since I have dual small Neuts. So even if it does have like a medium shield booster with a cap booster, which is a really strong tanky fit, you should still be able to punch through him with the dual Neuts. So I kill the first Jackdaw, and I'm not really in any danger at all here, and I then burn over for the second Jackdaw, which isn't actually hitting me right now. His missiles are expiring. I'm not sure if he's in the wrong mode or not because he's going fast, but he is linked. A Rapier decloaks now. I decided to try to go on the Jackdaw, but unfortunately he does manage to get out, and I get pointed by this Rapier at 39 kilometers because it is linked, and these guys did have links as well. So that kind of just shows you how strong this Svipul is. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get away from the Rapier, so I decided to burn for the gate. And too busy smack talking in local to like 10 on my prop mod, which is kind of funny, but even though this is like a rapid like Rapier with a bunch of drones and I'm dual webbed and he has links, I still should be able to get away from him. Actually do manage to get back to the gate, as you'll see here, even though it was like a 38 kilometers away. Even with dual webs on me, I still burn at 740 ms, which is like kind of like a battleship MWD speed. So despite these two Jackdaws and this Rapier having links, the speed that the Svipul goes and just the tank that it has is enough to sort of just get you out of even these really terrible situations a lot of the time. I know that wasn't particularly the most interesting fight, but I hope that could just kind of showcases the Svipul's speed. The Svipul is a very versatile ship, and you can swap one of the small Neuts out for an Infectious link, and you'll still be very powerful even with just one of the Neuts. So I decided to Infectious this station service because not much was really going on, and loads of people were running for me. A lot of people really underestimate Infectious ships for some reason. This Carynx just comes in and attacks me for some reason, even though I mean, the chances of a Carynx killing a Svipul, even with an Infectious link fitted, are incredibly low. But local does go up quite a bit, and a fight will result of this. I try to position myself when I'm Infectiusing to make it so that if someone warped directly to the station, I would be on the opposite side of them. Which is kind of what I'm doing now, is I'm double clicking in space and repositioning myself. So if someone lands in front of me, they'll land like between the station will be between me and them, and that will stop them from being able to burn, especially as I know that there is a Stratius pilot in local because I was messing around earlier, so it'll make it a lot harder for him to sneak up on me if he is cloaked here. So I'm just kind of like mashing D-scan, positioning myself in a good position, just waiting. Local goes up again by 1. So again, just kind of just playing safe. And even though I've got this Synthosis cycling, it will capture pretty soon. I just want to position myself in a good position and just be ready for anything that's coming in. They have to respond pretty soon as well because the station will be captured within 4 minutes. You can see here that the Svipul actually comes on scan. And I definitely can kill, I think, another Svipul in a 1v1, no problem. He actually lands on the gate, but I want to be careful because I know that there is a Stratius around, and local does go up again by 1, and they did have a Kisuni earlier, which is also incredibly dangerous, because it will basically prevent me from fighting in a 1v1. The Stratius actually decloaks. I think he actually got decloaked by the Svipul, or maybe he didn't. At this point, just trying to burn away, and I want to fight the Svipul, but I need to pull him off outside the Stratius' influence range. Most Stratiuses don't fit any drone mods normally. They're normally just like max armor tank for some reason, or just or shield tanks with like medium neuts. So generally they won't be able to use drones outside of 60 kilometers. So as long as I try and pull the Svipul about 90 kilometers off the Stratius, then I should be able to kind of engage it without having too much trouble. And I kind of swing back in here once I see that the Stratius is further than 90 kilometers. Maybe I should have burned away a bit longer, but I go in on the Svipul now. I actually have hail loaded, which I'm not sure if it is a mistake or not. I think if I had fusion loaded, it might just be a bit easier. I definitely think that the hail ammo choice, well, maybe not, kind of hurt me in the long run. You can see here that this is definitely an armor Stratius because it's burning at 1557 ms. He is actually in drone control range now though, which is dangerous for me. And this Svipul is in gang with a Malfunction Heiress and also a Kisuni, which will be joining the fight later. I am winning this fight though with the Svipul, as you can see, is in half shield. I'm only in like 80% shield, but the Stratius is burning into range now. And the Malfunction is here now, so I'm kind of in trouble here. Now Kisuni lands, so what's really important is that I switch to sharpshooter mode, which I do almost immediately. I need to try and kill the Kisuni as fast as possible before he jams me, and he was max fit for Mimitar and Mimitar jammers. He did have 4 Mimitar jammers on his ship. Even despite hail though, I'm still able to kill the Kisuni pretty fast because he warps in at a terrible range. The Kisuni definitely should have warped in like 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers. He would still be in his ECM optimal range. And then I just go onto the Malfunction. There's not really much time to switch into defensive mode here. It's better to be in sharpshooter mode for the tracking and for the lock speed, which is why I didn't switch back to defensive mode after killing the Kisuni. And I die pretty quickly here. But I think that was a cool fight, I guess. It just kind of shows just how versatile the Svipul can be to adapting situation, even when you're outnumbered really heavily 7-1. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this kind of showcases the strength of the Svipul and just how strong it is in the current meta that I think this fit is really strong and it's really meta defining. The artillery Svipul is also really strong as well, like I mentioned, but I wanted to focus on the brawling fit Svipul because I think it's the one that defines the cruiser meta a lot. It shapes the cruiser meta a lot more heavily. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you again soon.